And we don't have microphones up here today, so we'll all try to holler. We are getting the video working at the last minute here, so I have to give way across the hand for pulling this off in 15 minutes roughly. I had some miscommunication somewhere. Okay, we have a prayer by, roll call.
Mr. Lee.
Here.
Ms. Hudson. Here. Mr. Warner.
Here.
Mr. Halter.
Here.
Ms. Hermes. Here. Ms. Walker.
Here.
Mayor Moore.
Here. And we have a prayer by Ray Walker.
Oh Lord, our Heavenly Father, you have blessed us with brave men and women who are willing to defend our freedom. May your protection and grace surround them each day. Let your healing hand be upon those who suffer wounds and injuries. May those who have made the ultimate sacrifice rest forever in your holy presence. Comfort the families who mourn and are left to remember the precious lives of their loved ones, especially at these times of Christmas. Let us ever be mindful of each sacrifice made on behalf of the American people by our sons, daughters, husbands, wives, mothers, fathers, and friends. Please bring our men in uniform safe home for this Christmas. And we ask this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. And Legion, Marie will lead us in the pledge.
Please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do you want to say a few words?
We just want to get an update on what's going on with the Veterans Memorial.
Okay, that will be coming up on the meetings when we go.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. We've got the minutes, approval of minutes of previous meeting of November 25th, 2025. If there are no corrections, the minutes stand approved. Also, I have 3 proclamations tonight. I'll read through them here as best I can. This first one is whereas Ann D. Irwin, since May 2008, has been faithfully served the Village of Greenhills Mayor's Court as magistrate with professionalism, integrity, and an unwavering commitment to justice. Whereas Magistrate Irwin has presided over Mayor's Court for more than 17 years, providing fair, consistent, and impartial adjudication and upholding the laws of the state of Ohio and the ordinances of the Village of Greenhills. And whereas throughout her tenure, Magistrate Irwin has earned the trust and respect of residents, court staff, law enforcement, and village officials through her judicial temperament, wise counsel, and dedication to due process. And whereas her service has strengthened the relationship between the court and the community and contributed significantly to the fair and effective administration of justice in the Village of Greenhills. Now, therefore, I, David Moore, Mayor of the Village of Greenhills, do hereby recognize and honor Magistrate Ann Irwin for her more than 17 years of distinguished service to the village and its residents, and express our sincere appreciation and gratitude for her dedication and contributions to the village, and hereby do proclaim December 16, 2025 as Magistrate Ann B. Irwin Day. Signed by you. Okay, have another one. And this is one of our council members who's retiring. Whereas Melanie Hermes has been a public servant,
Retiring.
and a strong supporter of the Village of Greenhills, and served the citizens of Greenhills as council member since 2014. Whereas has grown up as part of the Greenhills family, spending days at the golf course in the municipal building, representing Greenhills and Winton Woods at Buckeye Girls State. And whereas she went on to earn a law degree and serve in 2 other local governments. Melanie has brought her professional expertise to bear in the service of the village. And whereas Melanie volunteers in a number of areas, including activities with her daughters in the Scouts and dance troupe. And whereas Melanie has served as the chair of the Finance Committee, the Safety Committee, the Laws and Rules Committee, and served as the Streets Committee, and represents the village on Waycross Media Board. Whereas upon the occasion of her retirement from council, it is just and fitting that her accomplishments are acknowledged. Now therefore I, David Moore, Mayor of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, do hereby proclaim December 20th, 2025 as Melanie Hermes Day. I encourage all residents to thank Melanie for her service and dedication to the citizens of the Village of Greenhills. One of your retirement gifts will be your name. Okay, next one, another council member retiring. Whereas Jack Lee has been a public servant and strong supporter of the Village of Greenhills and has served the citizens of Greenhills as a council member since 2014. Whereas Jack has brought his professional expertise to bear in the service to the village. And whereas upon the occasion of his retirement, it is just and fitting that his accomplishments are acknowledged. And whereas he has served as chair of the Finance Committee and on other council committees, including the Laws and Rules Committee, Safety Committee, Recreation Committee, Service and Streets Committee, and Planning Commission. And whereas Jack has been dedicated to leading by example, consistently volunteering to help during all village events such as Harvest Fest, Light Up Greenhills, National Night Out, Cooking with the Cops, where he has excelled as grill master. Whereas, and prior to becoming a council member, Jack served the citizens of the Wintonwood School District as a school board member for 16 years. Therefore, I, David Moore, Mayor of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, do hereby proclaim December 21st, 2025 as Jack Lee Day. I encourage all residents to thank Jack for his service and dedication to the citizens of the Village of Greenhills.
Retired from council, but he's not totally retired. I think our chief has something to pass to him for future usage. Because you cannot retire 100%, maybe 98%. That you're the master flipper of the burgers, and there is something else on your back there to that. And the calendar is marked the days that we need you.
I'll be there.
I take attendance there.
I think he needs a girl to go with him.
Yeah.
The girl needs to go with him.
One in
As
there.
long as there's a new grill.
One there in the back also. For that effect as well.
Thank you.
We don't want you to forget your duties here.
The other one out too.
Yes, please. This is the good time for it.
Oh my God.
The man, the meat, the legend.
Yes, we're gonna miss these two. Been a big supporter of me and helped me do a lot of things. All right, moving on, we have public presentations. Chief Tony Spade, Greenhills Fire Department.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm stepping up here at the beginning of my report because we have a couple of promotions this evening. And so I'm going to ask Cameron Young and Dustin Graham to come forward. I'm going to talk about these two young men for just a moment. So Cameron, Dustin. Cameron, as we embarked on this year, we focused heavily on leadership and supervision. One area we self-identified as an opportunity for our organization. We formulated the shifts and crews. We identified Cameron as a future leader. For the past 3.5 months, Cameron has been the acting OIC on Unit 2A and has done an outstanding job. Today is 2A, by the way. He has been focusing heavily on his own self-development and has taken the role seriously. He's trusted by his crew, and honestly, he knows what he's doing. Cameron has attended multiple outside training classes and continually self-evaluates as he's laser-focused on his own development and career as a full-time firefighter at St. Bernard. Cameron became a paramedic this year, which is no small feat, and is currently working on his Blue Card Command certification. He has responsibilities for tools and equipment, including our thermal imaging cameras, and will continue to lead Unit 2A. Cameron has been a member for over 4 years. Dustin? As our organization grows, we also identify areas where greater focus can help us improve, particularly in EMS, which is 75% of what we do. We have also identified Dustin as a future leader in our department, so we decided to add an EMS lieutenant position to the officer staff. Dustin has a passion for EMS and does a great job with our patients. He's a run leader, dependable, and willing to go the extra mile. He is also working on his Blue Card Command certification. I've been working with Dustin personally over the past couple of years, helping him to prepare for this position. He has taken feedback and focused on personal growth to fill this role. Dustin will work closely with Assistant Chief Meister and assume EMS responsibilities as assigned, such as EMS supplies and EMS training. Dustin has been a member of the fire department for 5 years. So I'm going to swear these two young men in, and their families are here this evening, so when we're done here, we'll have you come up and we can take a picture. All right, gentlemen, raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Dustin Young,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully, courageously, and impartially
I will faithfully, courageously, and impartially
perform the duties of a lieutenant with the Greenhills Fire Department
perform the duties of a lieutenant with the Greenhills Fire Department
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I pledge to protect life, property, and the environment,
I pledge to protect life, property, and the environment,
placing the safety and well-being
placing the safety and well-being
of others above my own.
of others above my own.
I will uphold the Constitution and laws of the United States,
I will uphold the Constitution and laws of the United States,
the state of Ohio,
the state of Ohio,
the ordinances of the Village of Green Hills,
of the ordinances of the Village of Greenhills,
and the rules and policies of the Green Hills Fire Department.
and the rules and policies of the Greenhills Fire Department.
I will serve my community with integrity,
I will serve my community with integrity,
compassion, and respect,
compassion, and respect,
honoring the trust placed in me.
honoring the trust placed in me.
I accept this position
I accept this position
and commit to preserving trust through my actions on and off duty.
and commit to preserving trust
Through my actions.
through my actions on and off duty.
Okay. So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Can you get a picture with us? Get on in here, Cameron. Okay, we'll start with Cameron's family. If you guys want to come up and get a photograph, and you can introduce them or do whatever you like. And then we'll follow up with us.
Let's take a picture.
And Cameron's father is the fire chief down in St. Bernard, so family history here. Come on up, guys. Camera. Here, I'll take a picture for you if you want. Should be good to get. All right. Chief. Okay. Very good. Fantastic. There you are. Thank you. Oh. Let's place my agenda there. Good evening, everyone. Really, one of the funnest things the fire chief gets to do is promote people. So, very excited for those two young men, and they're going to do a great job. I just want to share a few final statistics for you for November. I know the last time we met, November wasn't quite over yet, so I'll share those with you now. So, for the month of November, we had 89 runs, which was versus 42 runs last year in November. So that's a 112% increase in calls for service just in that 1 month compared to last year. We had 65 EMS details, and we also had 24 fire runs. Of the EMS details, we utilized mutual aid transport 4 times, which was 6% of the runs, which was versus 13% last year, so double the improvement there. Our average response time for fire is 3 minutes and 54 seconds. We provided automatic aid 14 times, and we received automatic aid 10 times. On the EMS side, last year, our total EMS response time was 6 minutes and 3 seconds. This year, our total was 4 minutes and 30 seconds, a difference of 1.5 minutes or 26%. If you dig in a little deeper, EMS response time this year during staffed hours is 3 minutes and 59 seconds, so less than 4 minutes, and versus the 6 minutes and 3 seconds. So that's a 2 minute, 4 second improvement, or 34%. And then EMS response times this year during non-staffed hours was 6 minutes and 21 seconds versus 6 minutes and 52 seconds last year, so 31-second difference. Slight improvement. So basically shows you that when we're in the firehouse, we're twice as fast. And so I think those are, again, numbers that we all expected would happen, and we're certainly seeing the results of our investment in fire EMS in the village. At our annual banquet last week, we recognized our firefighter of the year as Ben Powers, and then we also promoted Dustin Graham and Cameron Young to lieutenant. Joey Knight was promoted to engineer, and then we had length of service awards for Ben Baker Rogers at 5 years, Toby Smith at 10 years, and Tony Leidenborg at 15 years. So far this month, we've responded to 33 EMS details and 8 fire runs for a total of 41. That puts us right now at 709 runs year to date versus 656 last year. So 53 more responses year to date versus last year, and as you know, well, it's not even over yet. So again, we're busier, we got better response times, and things are going really, really well. I just wanted to mention a couple of things tonight. I'll be very quick. Wanted to talk about 2 things. First being fireplace safety. So I'm sure there's a lot of folks out there using their fireplaces right now and light a fire in there, and sometimes you really don't think about it, but the biggest thing we want to remind everybody is please have your fireplace and your chimney inspected. And if you haven't had it done yet, it's never too late. And so very often we respond to chimney fires, and almost always it's from lack of maintenance. The creosote builds up in there, and then it ignites, and then we have to tromp with fire boots through your house and extinguish the fire, and hopefully it doesn't extend into your attic. So please have that inspected by someone qualified. Use dry, seasoned wood. Never leave a fire unattended. Maintain a safe distance, so you want to make sure to keep furniture and other things at least 3 feet away from your fireplace. Use a screen and properly dispose of the ashes. A number of years ago, we responded to a fire on a deck where someone had put the ashes on the deck, and it ended up burning up the whole side of the house and got inside. So those ashes can stay hot for a long time, longer than you might think. And then educate your family members, especially if you have children or older folks living in your house, and educate them about the safety of fireplaces. And then the second topic is electrical portable space heaters. We're seeing a lot of these this time of the year as we get in and out of houses on fire runs and EMS runs. We see that people are using space heaters, and those are okay, but you want to make sure that you're using one that's UL approved or approved by a reputable testing agency. You want to make sure that it's at least 3 feet away from anything that could burn. Choose a heater with a thermostat and overheat protection. A lot of them now, where they tip over, they will automatically shut off. And then also make sure to keep them out of the way of foot traffic and never block an exit. Keep children away from the space heater and plug the heater directly into a wall outlet. Never use an extension cord. And so sometimes it's not the actual heater, but it's the overloading of the electric through the extension cord that causes the problem. And then space heaters should be turned off and unplugged when you leave the room or go to bed. 2 in 5 deaths in space heater fires involve portable electric space heaters. And so, unfortunately, the fact of society is that there's some people that are really relying on these to heat their spaces, and so we understand that, but we want to make sure that we're reminding everybody to be safe with portable heaters. That concludes my presentation and report for tonight. If anyone has any questions or comments, I can take those now. Otherwise, happy holidays to all of you.
Okay, thanks, Tony.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, moving to adopt the order that we have now. I have Senator Blessing that we want to address. Senator, will you please come forward?
And hopefully they'll be telling us what they're doing for us and not to us.
I can do that.
Okay.
All right, well, I guess I'll just address you without a microphone, that's fair enough. No, that is very on point, given a lot of what is going on in Columbus, and frankly, you probably saw a lot of the property tax reform that I will put in air quotes, and I say that because it was largely on the backs of local governments and schools. In particular for the village of Greenhills, I think House Bill 335 was probably the one that impacted you the most, given that it scales back the inside millage and ties it to inflation, as opposed to the way that it had worked in the past, whereas valuations go up like this, tax revenue goes up accordingly with it. And there is a cost to that sort of thing. So is it really relief in the sense that, we're giving it back to the citizenry, who will probably ultimately give it back to you guys at some point for the very necessary services they require at the city level, or the village level for that matter. In terms of things that I think can help you, I do have one proposal in Columbus with respect to where we should go. You've heard a lot about property taxes and they're good, they're bad, governments depend on them. So I have Senate Joint Resolution 7, and what that does is allows for land value taxation in Ohio, which we do have land value taxes. They're implicit within property taxes. So property taxes are taxes on land and the improvements thereon. Land value taxes are simply taxes on the land. Now, why would this be something that's that big of a deal? Why do we have to do a Senate joint resolution, in other words, a constitutional amendment? Well, Ohio's Constitution says that taxes have to be on land and improvements. You can't just say only the land. Now, if this were to pass, what would it mean for you guys? And this is where it takes sort of a radical turn. If you look up the history and the economics of land value taxation, you will find that economists universally say it is absolutely one of the best taxes you can have in terms of not harming the economy and having a significant economic efficiency. So it is not just a local government tax, it's also a very pro-housing tax, which is part of the reason why we're in the predicament that we are right now. We did not build enough housing. Land value taxation flips this on its head. Whereas right now, with property taxes, the lowest tax burden is on an empty plot of land, then a single family home, then an apartment. So as you can imagine, in a city like Cincinnati where they want more density, you're not gonna see a lot of it because the property taxation discourages that economic development. Land value taxation, however, flips that on its head in the sense that now they're all taxed equally. And so from a perspective of tax burden, it is the most expensive to just sit and squat on an empty plot of land. So you kind of see where this is going. It forces land to be developed, otherwise you're going to be losing money just by virtue of the fact that you're not developing. So, what would this mean in practice for you guys? There's a lot of things that go away if this were to pass. So, instead of taxing by, hey, here's, we're gonna do a 5 mil tax levy or something like that, this would be a certain dollar amount per acre. That seems like, why is that important? Well, for one, if you do it that way, it's flat. You guys set it, valuation goes up, valuation goes down, that remains the same. You don't have angry calls from constituents. You also don't have the need for CRAs, TIFs, abatements, all of those things are in place. I don't know if you guys have them in this village or not, but I do know that throughout the county that is a tool that is used by local governments to spur development. The land value tax is not necessary. Key feature in this is the trust that I have in putting in you guys with how this is drafted. Unlike property taxation, income taxation, or any form of local government tax, I'm not requiring in this you guys to have to go to the ballot. Now that is something that Kentucky and Pennsylvania both do, where they say, this is the rate that we need. We are the elected officials. We are the democratic oversight. Why do we need that second step to then go to the ballot? And by doing that, you guys set the rate, the money that you need. If it's not, doesn't work for your constituents, you get voted out. But otherwise, doing it that way, you'll find that your bond rating will go up because you have that certainty that if you need money, you can get it by a simple majority vote. To the extent that you have large cash reserves, which you probably have to have simply because if you need to levy, if you need to issue a property tax levy or an earnings tax levy, you don't know if it's going to pass. But now that you know that you can get this by simple majority vote, the need for a cash reserve goes lower. All this nonsense around renewal levies, replacement levies, substitute levies, emergency levies, red ones, blue ones, what does it matter if you're doing a simple majority vote? That, I think, is a key element of this that would take us in a radically different direction. Now, before I go on with that, I will say that this doesn't touch any other part of local government. Whatever you guys have in place for property taxation, whatever you have in place for an earnings tax, or whatever else, doesn't touch that. It's simply an incentive for you guys, another tool that you can have that is actually a legitimate tool that isn't taking away from other areas of your guys' government. So I would hope that that would be something that you guys would ultimately support. One final point here, and I'll take questions to the extent that you guys have things that are like, we need you to do this. I'm happy to hear that too. With respect to property tax relief, one of the bills, House Bill 186, did have legitimate property tax relief for homeowners in Greenhills. And the way that it works is that it ratchets down the non-business credit over 4 years. So that's that 10% property tax rollback that every 1, 2, and 3 unit single-family home gets on inside millage and the vintage levies that get that 12.5% rollback. That drops from 10 down to 7.5, down to 5, down to 2.5, down to 0 over 4 years. And then the owner occupancy credit, which operates similarly, except for the fact that you have to live in the home. So not everyone that gets the owner occupancy, or excuse me, not everybody that gets the non-business credit gets the owner occupancy credit. The owner occupancy credit will rise from 2.5% all the way up to 15.38% because there is a tax shift and a savings there. However, none of that comes out of your guys' coffers. You'll still get the same amount of revenue that you had before. The way that I had calculated it for my home in Northwest Local School District, Colerain Township, is that based on our tax burden, once it's fully phased in, I would get a property tax savings of $100 per $100,000 of home valuation. So my home's valued at $202,000. I get about $200 in property tax relief for that. Now, the question would be, where does this money come from if there's a tax shift and it's not harming local governments? This is where, if you read the news, one of my issues and entities that I've fought for a very long time is Vinebrook, which is one of the large institutional housing investors that has been buying up a lot of the single-family homes in Hamilton County. Now, admittedly, they don't, when you look at the state at large, they don't amount to, a huge percentage, but where they are located, they most definitely do. They will no longer be getting the non-business credit by the simple virtue of why should they be getting state dollars for gobbling up all of these single-family homes. It's a very simple change. Now, there are smaller investors that could potentially be harmed by this, but remember that the median real estate investor in this state only has 2 properties. So there's a very good chance that the vast majority of real estate investors in the state that have a property or 2, any loss that they have on the non-business credit for their rental home is going to be offset by the increase that they get for their owner occupancy credit, if of course they live in Ohio. But again, if they don't live in Ohio, why are we subsidizing investors from out of state when we can be helping our senior citizens and folks who actually live in Ohio? So that is coming your guys' way, to the extent that you have to go to the ballot to make up for some things in House Bill 335 or whatever. You can always pitch that to your constituents to say, look, you're getting this benefit from 186, why not split it with your schools and your local governments? I thought it was a decent pitch. We'll see if you guys think that as well. But rather than drone on about that, is there anything that I can help you guys with in Columbus, or is anything on your guys' mind?
I really like how that seems to be structured. And so what are the things that would cause that to be successful? Is it simply, do you have roadblocks that you have to deal with in order for that to happen?
For the land value tax?
Yes.
Yes, so the biggest roadblock is that it's a constitutional amendment, and you have to get this, you have to get it on the ballot, one, so it requires a supermajority in both the House and the Senate. I don't think that's actually going to be a problem, because this is one of these weird situations where real estate investors like it, farmers like it, but oddly enough, local governments and schools like it as well, because this is a tool, they don't have to go to the ballot. That's a much better sell for them. The problem is right now is the property tax well has been so thoroughly poisoned in this state where people hear property taxes and they're like, we don't want to think about it any further. The issue is we do need that development, that extra housing. The apartment association is like, we love this because now, we have such a, they literally are, from a housing standpoint, the most efficient use of property. They will build, which will decrease a lot of the pressure on our housing market. It's just convincing folks that this is the best way to go about it. But you look up these things on the internet, you'll find that folks like Milton Friedman were hugely in favor of this, as well as folks on the left. They're like, this is also a very efficient, good tax for all the reasons that I've mentioned. So I think the General Assembly, believe it or not, is the easier hurdle for this, because it will get Democrat support. Getting it across the finish line of the ballot right now, it's probably a tougher sell, but I am an internal optimist with it, and I hope I can get it.
Thank you.
Will it have any impact on the credit that veterans are 100% disabled receive?
No, so you're referring to the homestead exemption, for example. No, so that's on property taxation. This would be totally in parallel to something like this. So the way I kind of envision this would be that, local governments, for the most part, would implement this, but how many people actually like going to the ballot? Everybody hates going to the ballot. I think what would happen is property taxes would start to slowly phase out as land value taxes phased in. But to the extent that they are getting the homestead exemption, they wouldn't be affected by that. And if we had to, if this were to pass at the ballot, we could always add something like that at the state level for veterans, for seniors, for that. But again, I think their tax burden would be quite low in the grand scheme of things to this, especially when you build a lot more housing. I think we'd find a situation where as property tax rates are actually starting to drop, the revenue would go up in the aggregate because we built so much more housing. And, you know, the inside millage, for example, would become that more valuable. So it's very likely that, yeah, you're seeing more revenue coming in, but the individual tax burden would go down.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. All right, thank you.
You've done good work. Okay. All right. Next, Chair of the American 250 Committee.
This whole Good evening. In lieu of a report from specifically to American 250, I'm going to defer to Mr. Warner. He'll share information that's relevant to America 250 during his community development work. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Jennifer Weicker. Greenhills Break, Public Library.
Hello, thank you for letting me come and give you an update on what's going on at the library. Do all of you know what the winter checkout challenge is now? If you don't, it's summer reading for adults in the winter, otherwise known as reading for fun and prizes. This is going to get cozy this season with the return of the winter checkout challenge from January 16th to February 28th. You can complete challenges at any of our locations or in the comfort of your own home. We're going to kick off the challenge with a cozy night in on Friday, January 9th, 6:30 to 9 at the main library. This is going to have a local author panel. It's going to have warm drinks, cookies, crafts, and all kinds of fun. It is a $25 ticketed event that supports the Library Foundation, and you do get a book from one of those local authors included in the price of that kickoff. But starting on January 16th, you get a challenge bookmark, and there'll be a bookmark each week at any of our locations, and you get a tote bag just for signing up by taking a bookmark. And then each week you can compete to complete that bookmarks challenges, and then you can get entered for a library blanket that is going to be very warm and cozy. And then you also can collect all of our buttons each week and complete the whole set. And then halfway through, the return of the mug. This year is blue and has some lovely graphics on it. It holds lots of really nice warm soup or hot chocolate or coffee or tea, anything that you enjoy. So this will be the hot commodity as well as the tote bags, of course. So the structure is a little bit different in that this will be more like halfway through the challenge as opposed to based on how many activities that you completed or anything. So that'll be a great deal of fun. 2025 has also been a very busy year for our library. I will not quote most of the stats, but we did have a lot of attendance. 167,511 people attended story times at all of our locations this year. We also checked out 5,492,031 Libby ebook check and e-audiobook. All of the e-stuff from Libby. That's how many we checked out so far this year. We do still have a few weeks to go. And then the most circulated adult print books were also The Women by Kristen Hanna, Strangers in Time by David Baldacci, To Die For by David Baldacci, James by Percival Everett, and Paranoia by James Patterson. There's a whole bunch of information on our website, so if you go to www.chpl.org, you can read more statistics, catch up on that cozy night in, and all the other fun things that will be happening with the library system. We do still continue with 3 special interest clubs at Greenhills. We have a mystery book club, a Secrets of Spice club, and a classic movie club. But if there's something else that we should be doing, please let me know, and we'll be more than happy to explore what we can do to add. So if you have a special interest and would like to have a place to come and talk about it or meet up, come and talk to me, we'll see what we can do. Holiday closures. We will be closed, all locations will be closed on the 24th and the 25th, and we will close at 5 p.m. on December 31st, and we are closed on Thursday, January 1st. We will also be closed for the MLK holiday on Monday, January 19th. However, all of those ebooks, including Libby, all of those resources are available 24/7. We have a lot of fun programs coming up. I will not hit most of them, but I'll just hit a few highlights. Tomorrow, we're having our snowman ornament for teens, so come and create that. We're going to be doing a tissue paper lights for kids on Saturday, December 20th at 2 p.m. That one is a sign up. The teen one, you can just come, but we have limited supplies for the other one. We will be having, and the crowd goes wild on Wednesday, January 14th at 6:30 for adults. That's from the UC Classics department, and it will explore the gladiatorial games and how those worked back in the day. We're going to have MLK stories and buttons for kids on Tuesday, January 13th at 6:30 p.m. We're also going to have Penguin Pals, which is penguin rock painting for teens. We're going to celebrate National Penguin Day on Tuesday, January 20th at 4:30 p.m. So all kinds of fun things coming up. Any questions that I can answer about what we've got going on?
Thank you for your participation over the year, the different events we've had. You guys have set up and you pulled through and good representation.
Well, thank you for letting us be a part of all of the celebrations. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Joe.
We'll try.
Great. No public hearings, reports of municipal officials, municipal go back.
Thank you, Mayor. I didn't have time to prepare a report, but I do want to make a comment about the service department and the excellent job they did during the last storm. They put in a lot of hours, but I think our streets were pretty dang good. I'm sure they were. And I'm real proud of them and their dedication and how they get the job done. So I just want to compliment. We do have a lot of items on our agenda, so I thought it might be more efficient as we go through those items if there's discussion. Might include that part.
I'm gonna run this statement about the snow removal and so forth, because going through Winter Road, you can see the difference on the surface that you get into the Greenhills, and it was very, very nicely done. And you could see immediately there's, okay, we can bring it home now. So, thank you very much.
I don't know how many people realize we only have 4 people to do our snow removal. One of them has only been with us a few months now, I think, so but they're all doing really good, so.
And they also took care of the leaves after the snow and,
You know,
and everything else, yeah.
Yeah.
Law Director, Jeff Forbes.
Thank you, Mayor. Senator Blessing stole my whole report. So nothing really to add, although I've added that Senate Joint Resolution 7 to my list of things to monitor, so we'll see if that makes its way forward.
All right, thank you. Clerk of Council, Teresa Lawler.
Nothing tonight.
Chief Police, Jim Holland.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd first like to publicly thank Magistrate Irwin for the 17 years. I know I've been here a little more than two and a half years, and there's one time I think she wasn't here that she had a replacement, and I'm sure in 17 years it's been like that, so she's just been a staple up there, and she will be missed. I'm confident that we won't miss a beat starting in January too, that we have another magistrate coming on board. So we do appreciate her. Melody, Jack, appreciate the two of you. I know Melody, we worked together for a long time whenever you started my other place. So it's been a long time, Jack. It's been a good couple of years. So August 4th, don't forget. Be there at 5 o'clock.
I might have had a vacation plan.
Well,
I have to change.
I'll change.
all right.
I have to change it.
I appreciate it. I'll forget now. Enjoyed a good evening with Cookies with the Cops and busting cookies that we gave out. We do have a few extra if anybody in here would like to sell grab some? Or anybody out there that's watching? On Saturday, we're gonna, building bridges, we're participating with Anthony, or with Master Barber Antonio Spicer, Grace Hills Church, Red Door Church, and we're giving out 100 predetermined baskets to families that can use it during the holidays. So they are predetermined, so don't show up there if you haven't been reached out to. Everybody that's going to show up has actually got identification on the card to present to us, but it's going to be 100 families that we're going to be feeding on the 20th for family of 5 and food and stuff, so that'll be at the Grace Works. We'll be handing them out from 12 to 2. We did receive word that we're getting our bulletproof vest grant funding again this year, which is good. That's 75% that they contribute, and we pay 25%, so that's a huge savings for us. I don't have a monthly report. I know you're all kind of wondering where it is and looking for it, but I don't have one this month, and that's because I'm working on the annual report for 2025, so that'll be coming out sometime mid to late January. I would like to take the time too to mention, if you don't get the annual report or the monthly report that I put out every month, simply email me and I can get you on the list, the distribution list, so when I send it out, it comes directly to you. It's also on our website every month, if you don't get the email from me, you can click on the website and get it. So if you would like to be on the list so you know when it actually comes out, you can just email me at chief@greenhillspd.org. Just a few stats from November, which wasn't long ago, but we're getting through December pretty quick. Month of November, we answered 218 calls for service. We had 23 criminal offense reports. They range from aggravated menacing, identity theft, obstruction, TPO violation, assaults, motor vehicle theft, trespass, domestic violence, drug abuse, paraphernalia. Out of those 23 criminal arrests or criminal offense reports, we made 10 arrests of individuals for those 23 criminal offense reports. We assisted our neighboring agencies 19 times. We investigated 11 parking complaints. We issued 33 traffic citations. We issued 48 traffic warnings, and we investigated 4 crash reports. So I'd also like to give a shout out to the service department in this last storm and in November when we did it, if you remember. All things considered, auto accidents and the public for driving safely and staying off the streets if they don't have to be on it, but they did a wonderful job as far as that goes, so we do appreciate that, and it makes our job a little bit easier. So.
Here's a question again. It just not came to mind. Did anything ever come of all those break-ins with the vacant homes?
No, they have not.
But it stopped.
We did have one incident where somebody was working in the house and the rock was thrown through and seen fleeing.
Okay.
But was not apprehended at the time, so we at least have somewhat of a description. Doesn't say that individual did them all, but the same MO where a rock came through the window.
Maybe that scared them off.
Hopefully.
Okay.
We haven't had anything since then.
Okay.
Chief, I have a question. This is the first time this has ever happened. We had 2 packages taken from, actually it was from our driveway. They're supposed to be put on the porch. But in a situation like that, should we be calling you? I mean, we obviously contacted Amazon at the time and stuff, but.
Yeah, I mean, Amazon's primarily, or whoever you ordered from, is who you want to reach out to, but it doesn't hurt because some people actually call us if they found a package. Hopefully, if they found a package and it would have your address and your name on it, they would deliver it to you. But some people have found, or they find an empty box. So we can at least say, hey, it was delivered, but it was removed. They took the product out of it and they left the box somewhere in the neighbor's house.
Yeah, they're gonna be very disappointed with this.
And,
the thing I didn't know if it was the kind of thing, if you saw a pattern, like if it's just happening in this section of town or that section. And I would almost think, since our driveway's underneath their house, it had to be somebody that was watching the truck, because they had to pass 2 cars, come down, and that kind of thing. But I didn't know if there's an advantage from just being aware that that happened and to see if there's any kind of.
yeah, absolutely. We haven't had reports of it yet. I don't want to say yet. But certainly if we see a pattern in a certain section or something, I'm going to put something out saying, hey, and no, nothing's too small. We'd rather you call if something looks suspicious and find out it's nothing. But you're correct. The majority of the time that you see this, not in Greenhills, because we haven't had a rash of this, but other places, you can actually see a vehicle that's following the Amazon truck. By the time they're out of the area or turn around, a lot of times they'll pass by and then they're coming back. And all that's captured on Ring doorbells and stuff, so if you have something like that, make sure you check your Ring doorbell and stuff like that. That would assist us.
And it would be important for people to add security cameras to their Ring doorbell if they don't have their cameras. Put a camera over your driveway.
Yeah, well, I started to do some research, oh my gosh, there's some options and thoughts.
So they give you too many options out there.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot of options.
We
Some
have
better than others.
Ring camera over our garage and it has a solar panel. And I noticed that it stays charged 90 to 100% all the time when the overcast days, so.
Yeah,
That's what I have.
I've got solar power. Okay, moving on. My report, I have court receipts for ending November 30th. Bank balance is $42,626.05. Checks to be issued to the state of Ohio, $717.50. $25.50 to Hamilton County, and $2,083 to the village of Greenhills. And I also compliment the service department. I've been in a couple other communities and was amazed how slick their streets are close to us. That I don't know what happened, they didn't get the streets plowed enough or something, but they certainly didn't have bare pavement. Slid all around one of them today. All right, that's all I have. Boards, committees, intergovernmental affairs, laws and rules, Maria Walter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Laws and Rules Committee met tonight. We talked about the rules of council. We discussed a change in the rules of council for this coming year. Under consideration is changing the work session and regular council meetings to the first and third Tuesday of the month. This change would allow Waycross Media to be available to stream the work session meetings as well as the regular council meetings. Also under consideration is changing the format of public speaking comments. The public speaking will be combined to one opportunity for residents to speak on topics of legislation and other concerns. Comments will be made prior to report of committees. In that way, committee chair can address a public comment if so they desire. This will be addressed during the first meeting of 2026 by our ordinance, first reading only. At this time, public comments opportunities at the work session is under consideration. And that concludes my report.
Anybody else? All right, finance and audit, Jack Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, at your places tonight is the general fund recap for the month of November. You will note that as we were anticipating, the income tax receipts have leveled out versus the kind of downward trend we were seeing earlier in the year. Real estate taxes are right where they need to be. The general fund balance as of the end of November 2025 was $2,608,914.62. On the expense side, the transfers that we voted upon at the November meeting are noted there as well. You see that from the appropriation standpoint, as of the end of November, we spent approximately 62% of our planned appropriation, and there are no new transfers from the general fund for this month that would change those values. So Unless anyone has a question about that report? No. That's it.
For real.
For real.
All right, community development, Jim Bonner.
Thank you, Mayor. The America 250 Committee Planning Committee met yesterday, and then the Community Development Committee met today. The main topic was really just talking about the events and identifying event chairs. We are still looking for more volunteers. We need many pairs of hands to help with the different events, but at this point for the community picnic and some, designing some banners and things like that, folks have stepped forward to participate in that, and I think we're going to have, sounds like we'll have enough folks to organize a parade, so that's still almost for sure. I know I'm on camera, so it's, but I think we have folks to help with that now. One of the important activities for the America 250 Committee is the Veterans Memorial. And so thanks to Ms. Willard and Ms. Knack, they presented to the American Legion a couple different concepts. And the concept that that is most favored at this point, I don't know if we're going to be able to see this in the camera or not, but there is a spot in the new park which has is paved in the overlooking the ravine, and the idea is to have some pavers that veterans or their families donate that would provide the walkway leading up to a bench. And it's really a combination of these two. It would be a bench that looks like this, but it would have an inscription that would read Greenhills Veterans Memorial. And there is a lot of support for flagpoles that would represent each branch of the service, the different services, as well as an American flag. So we're going to need to post this on the website so people can take a closer look at this, but that is the concept. And we have donations from the American Legion and the Sons of the American Legion to get started. But this is going to be an expensive venture. It's not going to be done all at one time. It's going to have to be done in phases. So I know Ms. Knack has done some work to kind of recommend some phases where we need to do a lot more work in that area. So more to come there. The one other thing I wanted to mention that happened in today's meeting is we saw a presentation for some organization software, community organization software called See My Legacy, which would really streamline all of the work that gets done for community type events like organizing volunteers, accepting donations for events that are posted on the village website. It would also allow us to track sponsorships for like the community concerts and things like that. There's like 6 main different functionalities that would be a tremendous help in streamlining the administration's workload that already goes on, and would really enable all the activities for America 250 as well as future village events. This software is very affordable. It's like $2,500 for a year. There's no contract, there's no automatic renewal, and this is an administrative decision that can be made, but I would like to say that we have 2 donations that will cover almost half of that to start with, so we can try this out. There's an anonymous donation for $500, and then there is another $500 donation dedicated to the memory of John Thaddeus Willard. And this will enable us to work with the software, allow the village to test it out and see how it improves our work processes and lightens the load, as well as makes communication better for our events and all the things that we have on our plate for the community. So thank you very much for our donors. We're very excited at the generosity that this will enable for bringing to life America 250 and all the other things that the village does.
Those donations are almost halfway done for the year.
So that covers us
Anybody else
for
that's
halfway.
listening, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's all I have for my report.
Comments or questions? All right. Service and Streets, Melanie Herbie.
Thank you. We met on 12/9 at 6:30. We did talk about some old business. One of the things was the golf course park. The path is completed, but there's additional money to spend on signage and swings and erosion control, so that's still ongoing. We talked about the trees and urban canopy, who's the contractor, and so then all the stump grinding has been done for 2025. They have some trees scheduled in the H block for 2026. And they do have a list with priorities. If there are any trees, they have started the list, so we do know what is the plan for 2026. The sidewalk plan for 2026, we have a contract with Precision Contract. So in early 26 weather permitting, they'll start with the grinding for the sidewalks to make it, instead of having to replace full blocks, that way they can grind the edges so it's a smooth and less of a trip hazard. And then we talked a little bit about the fire hydrants and stop sign markings, about only 30 feet from stop signs to park. So when you park, you're only allowed to be, you can't be closer than 30 feet from a stop sign, and then from fire hydrants, it's 10 feet. We do have some, when it's not marked, those are the rule of thumb. If it's marked, follow the markings. So that's always something to keep into consideration. We know the service department does need a new truck for sooner rather than later. And then the 2026 paving will be Damon, Cromwell, and Springville Road. I also do want to give a shout out to the services department and their snow removal, but also to segue that they have extended their leaf removal into January.
Yeah.
So as you're piling your snow and leaf, the leaves will be collected, weather permitting, one time per week. So again, put them at the curb on the area between the sidewalk and the street. Do not put them in the street. That is a hazard for everybody, but place them at the curb. That is all I have.
Comments or questions? And it probably won't snow again because I ordered snow tires.
Oh, of course.
So,
Well, I did see it's supposed to get up to 50 on Thursday and then drop.
it's going to be, this kind of weather is tough for the pavements breaking down
Oh, yeah.
easier. All right, safety, Jeff Alder.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We also met on Tuesday, December 9th at 5:30 and went over some old business. One thing that we had talked about a couple of meetings back was the possibility of supplying a refrigerator magnet or something along those lines that would have the key phone numbers for people to call if they needed to. That has transformed over to a possible door hanger. The reason is we are wanting to promote more and more the one-call system, and that will afford us the ability to say on one side how to get either directly connected to it, preferably. Lisa Mack had a good suggestion. If we can have people connect directly, we will. Otherwise, you'll reach out to the village and it will spell out step by step how to be part of the one-call system. This has become more and more important, not just obviously for safety reasons, but also without the journal. That was such a vehicle for us. So the more ways we can have a pipeline between what we're doing and resources and the residents, the better. So I do think that's something where it's not that hard to take a door hanger and put that on your refrigerator and also have both the on-call information and safety numbers. So Yvonne's going to be gathering some of that information and we'll go to the next step with that. We have been having an ongoing discussion about emergency preparedness. There's the possibility of grants for that, identifying the highest key things to be prepared for, which seems to be more and more these days. And then we made some progress on that. Hopefully we can start to steer that to a plan that is resident ready and distributed to the residents. A new topic that we discussed was, it came to us, one of the residents had offered, to put a speed bump in front of their house. And I guess I shouldn't say I retitled that to be, and there's got to be a better name than what I came up with, speed control and safety for resident, speed control for resident safety. The reason is, I think it's important for us to realize the goal is to have a safe environment for our residents. And if that includes speed bumps, we should be all in. If it includes something other than that, whatever it takes, I think the focus should be on safety. I did learn some information from the chief that both Green Township and Springfield Township has taken out their speed bumps. The chief offered to reach out to them and find out, what was the reasoning and rationale behind that. There's a lot to consider, not as a form of procrastination, but we do need to talk to the fire department and get their take on it. The other thing too would be just as far as our service department, and just kind of open it up to see what's the best option. Again, Lisa Mack had a very good, interesting idea, which is the rumble strips. And I know when you're going from 275 and heading onto 74, those get your attention. I think one of the great, this is side stuff, I want to do this just for Jack and Melanie to give them all extra information before they get there. One of the greatest inventions out there are the ground ridges on the side of the expressway. It's just a really great tool that now barring snow and everything else that's on it, but typically when the roads are clear, when you're veered off the path. I know the rumble sticks is something to consider. I think we're looking at what's the best step forward. We've got to gather some more data and information, but we'll be revisiting this at our next meeting. And that concludes my report. Unless there's questions.
No question, but I literally had down rumble strips because I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, I haven't mentioned that, so it's good.
You can get your attention on that.
Yeah, I do.
I did hear in Europe, and I was aware that they do make them where you actually hear a song, but I don't think we want to encourage driving over it to create such a thing.
Yeah, Chair?
Yeah.
For preparedness of possible problems and electricity now, etc. I know that when we didn't have that problem for 2 or 3 days, a lot of people were able to come here to the village area that had the backup transformers to be able to charge the phones and things like that. We shouldn't rely totally out of our minds on that, but have a plan for that also. Perhaps one of us will have to be here at a time or something, or an opening, or things like that. That might be something that should
Well, it's
work out.
interesting. When I call it an audit, and it's not, we're still going into it. There's a lot of aspects and a lot of things to consider. If we have a small space and we say, everybody come, and they do come, we have to be prepared for that kind of response. And there's protocols that that need to be very direct, from Yvonne to the police department. There's certain protocols that need to be preserved and not brought into the public realm, just for the safety of the public. So we're unpacking that. It's actually much bigger than I thought. I hope to put together, maybe it's something for the retreat where we can synthesize that information and make people aware and go from there. But I'm open for suggestions. There's been some great suggestions from our residents, and I am more in the camp, I'd rather be prepared and never have to
I
use
never
it.
have to use it, yeah.
But, and we can only do so much. So there's a lot to be said for individual preparedness and preparation, and there are resources, and we're hoping to put that as part of that door hanger. So we will get it done.
All right, recreation, cable television, Rachel Hudson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As always, Waycross is ready and willing to have volunteers, and the only other thing is that for recreation, we met on Thursday, the 11th, and just briefly touch base about a couple of things. We had, earlier in the year, we had a company come out and look at the space down by, down off to the side of the community garden and see if that would be feasible to put in pickleball there, and found out that it wouldn't be. So we've had some conversations about how we can utilize that space that would be beneficial for residents, and also maybe about adding pickleball to the tennis courts, and also taking care of some maintenance issues of the tennis courts. The quote is a lot higher than what we were anticipating, so if we were ever to move forward with anything like that, we would definitely want to.
Sorry. I was trying to give you stuff.
Oh, that's funny. We would definitely want to have enough time to put that information out to the residents, see how they feel about it, and just make sure that it's something that as a whole or with the majority that we would want to invest in. And we also pick back up on We Thrive. That is one of the goals for 2026 is to have We Thrive and take advantage of that resource that some other communities already tap into, which helps with funding and different things. And the next step is for the village manager to put something together so that we can create a name and ordinance and just make it official. And then we'll move forward and revisit putting into place a recreation commission. And that was it. Unless there's any questions.
The community gardens, I'm not sure it's a community development thing or recreation. Where does that fall? Is that just general?
The park, I think it's on community development, but I need to look back at the legislation to see.
Are those all accounted for, and is that something that, we're hoping for spring eventually? I just wondered, are those all accounted for next summer?
The gardens themselves, they're doing sign up right now.
Okay, so they're still available, and it would be good for people to be aware if they want one, they just call the office.
Yeah, we contacted the ones who have had gardens, we give them first option to renew. And at the first of the year, we're open to take.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, this is the time for citizens to comment on legislation listed on the agenda for this session of council. Comment on legislation listed on the agenda for this session of council. When recognized, please come forward to the podium, complete the sign-in sheet, verbally indicate if you're a resident or a non-resident, and then state your comments. Comments will be limited to 4 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Patty and I live at 32 Chalmers Lane. And as I told you, I'm not a politician. I am a political activist. So I'm here to kind of shape some questions and try to get some answers. But I know you guys don't like to give answers, so I'm just going to address you. First of all, the state statutory rule for reading of an ordinance is 3 times on 3 separate occasions. I'm directing all these comments to your ordinance 2025-005F, which is your emergency ordinance that you're attempting to get passed to borrow $605,000, which is more than $500,000. I look at this and I compare it with what the state requires in an ordinance. I don't know if Mr. Forbes wrote this up or your buddy over at the Shoal Company did it, Dinsmore and Shoal, but there's some big gaps here, okay? Number one, the Greenhills Charter only calls for 2 readings on 2 separate occasions, while the state calls for 3. Now, when you pull this emergency hoax, or whatever you want to call it, out of your hat, what it does is it only requires 1 reading. It also denies the public any chance to do a referendum if they don't approve of what you guys are doing. So, emergency. Your guy from Dismal and Shoal seemed to think that he could hang his hat on the fact that it's the welfare because you have a loan that has already been negotiated or whatever, even though he said that the bank will probably let you have the wiggle room. But he said that that might be for the welfare of the community, and I don't agree with that. I think that's just so much baloney. You signed this lease back 180 days ago with your Braceworks, and now we find out that they have employees that are being prosecuted for felonies. So we wonder how stable this lease is actually going to be. Is it something we want in our community? The other thing is, throughout this document, you're not really defining what it is you're borrowing all this money for. You're calling it a project. Project is mentioned 6 times. Project, 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 project. As defined herein. I'm sorry, I've read this thing 14 times. It's not described. It doesn't say where your project is. It doesn't say what in the hell you're doing. You're just blowing some money. Then you take a look at what the state requires for emergency clause. You can't do emergency ordinances when it involves a tax. So you start reading through all of this document here. Now, how many times is the word tax put in here? I counted 12 times. Now, so if you guys go ahead and pass this, is it legal? Is it not legal? Do we have a referendum? Do we not have a referendum? Are you going to read it 3 times like the state requires? You're going to do it 2 times? Or are you going to bulldoze it through? What is it? I'm glad to see that you finally had included here the not to exceed. It used to be that your version did not say not to exceed on the interest or on the money. Talking about direct tax, you're saying, you told us that the rental amount is only $6,311 a month. It's not mentioned in here, but you're not even mentioning how much the mortgage payment's going to be. So in other words, this document isn't worth the paper it's written on, and if you go ahead and pass it as an emergency, I think you're doing a violation on a number of things. And I think Mr. Forbes is sitting here tonight, and he's well acquainted as to what should be in this ordinance. I want it on the record that I am objecting, and I want every one of the details that I put here mentioned in the minutes, Ms. Lawley. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Lisa Knack, Greenhills residents. I have a different concern on the same ordinance. Ordinance number 2025-005F. I looked back through the minutes, and in August, the restoration cost was at $471,000. Can you help me understand, and I don't know if you're going to answer this tonight or not, how did we get to 605?
Change orders.
You're borrowing 605. So we're at 602? Cost for renovations? How do we get there?
Yeah.
I,
Okay.
I don't know if you want to answer, or,
No, they don't answer.
They were letting you
It's
answer
your
your
time
time,
is
we didn't
long.
want to cut into your time.
oh, that's it. I just want to understand how to, I mean, that's considerable jump.
The cost associated with the project has gone up.
What created that costing? That is, what, $100,000 plus? Costing $130,000?
No,
What does that account
They
for?
discovered mold,
Okay,
asbestos that wasn't
okay.
planned for.
We get structural issues,
Yes,
like
the walk-in box was removed, they cut the rafters, that weren't
structural
really
grease
supporting
trap
the
was
roof.
cracked.
And then we had some water issues that cropped up on the back wall towards the parking lot,
Is there an issue with fire suppression?
and fire suppression.
But it's not fire suppression, the
Fire.
fire safeties, there
There we go.
wasn't anything in there, so yeah, change of use and,
What's this property valued at?
oh, I don't think we can pull that out of the hat right now, we're right in the middle.
Yeah, I don't really know what
renovation.
exactly what it's valued at, you would have to have it appraised anyways.
This one's concerning. I appreciate the effort to bring a tenant into a building that has sit empty for years. Buildings do not like to sit empty. It's hard on them as you're discovering, and at the same time, as a general obligation bond, if that tenant, for whatever reason, backs out of their lease, or they don't renew, then we are obligated out of our general fund to pay this.
We also
Monthly
have-
bond obligation.
We also will have a building that is very leasable after that as well.
I hope so. But this is concerning, it's concerning to me. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. Unfinished business, ordinance number 2025-004-LNR, second reading, amending various sections of chapter 737 of the Village of Greenhills codified ordinances regarding peddlers and solicitors.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance 2025-004, laws and rules. Amending various sections of chapter 737 of the Village of Greenhills, 35 ordinances regarding peddlers and solicitors, whereas chapter 737 of the codified ordinances relates peddlers and solicitors, and whereas council has determined that it is in the best interest of the village to amend certain regulations in this chapter, now therefore be it ordained by the council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, members elected thereto concurrent, section 1, that chapter 737 of the Village of Greenhills codified ordinances shall be amended as set forth in Exhibit A attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference. All other provisions of chapter 737, not specifically amended herein, shall remain in full force and effect. Section 2, that this ordinance shall be effective from and after the earliest period allowed by law. Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt this ordinance.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? Clerk call the council.
Mr. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Hudson,
Aye.
Mr. Alter,
Aye.
Mr. Warner,
Aye.
Ms. Walter,
Aye.
Ms. Hermes.
Aye.
Okay, ordinance number 2025-004-LNR passes. Next ordinance, number 2025-005-F, second reading, providing for the issuance and limited tax general obligation bonds in one or more series in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $605,000 by the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, Hamilton County, Ohio, for the purpose of acquiring, constructing, and equipping building renovations and improvements, all within the village, and declaring an emergency. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move to suspend the rules requiring the reading of the ordinance 2 times on 2 separate occasions, and reading of the ordinance in its entirety and only by title only, as well as declare an emergency.
We already,
This is already a second reading, so
Right.
you don't have to, but I think so you don't have to suspend that rule. But I think what you are asking is making a motion to just read by title only for the second reading.
right,
I'm sorry.
yeah, okay. We have a second? Did you second?
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any comments or questions?
This is just to read it by title only. This is not adopted yet. This is just to read it by title only.
Okay. Clerk call the council.
Ms. Hudson? Aye. Mr. Warner?
Aye.
Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Motion passes.
The motion passes, and now you can proceed with it as you would any other piece of legislation.
Mayor, ordinance 2025-005-F, an ordinance providing for the issuance of the limited tax general obligation bonds in one or more series in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $605,000 by the Village of Greenhills, Hamilton County, Ohio, for the purpose of acquiring, constructing, and equipping building renovations and improvements, all within the village, and declaring an emergency. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this ordinance.
I object.
Need a second?
Second?
Okay. All right, any discussion?
Can I make a couple comments?
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to clarify here a couple things we've heard before. Statutory rules do not apply for us. We are a charter form of government. You can look that up in the state law. So just statutory rules do not apply to us. And as far as how much the mortgage is, we won't know that until this bond is issued. The proceeds go to Park National, who will be loaning us the money. That's when we'll find out what our mortgage amount is and the interest rate they put with it. I just think.
So what's in here is not
And we
accurate?
had a great presentation at the last meeting, you'll recall. Brad, Rui, our bond counsel, I thought he was very clear, very professional, and knows what he does very well.
And prepare the document.
And if I could add to that, that attorney is with the firm of Dinsmore and Scholl. They act as bond counsel to almost every municipality in the greater Cincinnati area, in the state of Ohio, and expanding across the country. They are the preeminent bond counsel firm for local government finance projects. They know this law better than anyone knows. And if this is how they presented it to you, I would vouch for the firm of Dinsmore and Scholl and their bond counsel department to say that this is done absolutely appropriately.
Make sure that's in the record.
Clerk call the council.
Yeah, make sure that's in the record.
Ms. Hudson? Aye. Mr. Warner?
Aye.
Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ordinance number 2025-005-F passed. Next ordinance number 2025-006-CD, first reading, amending section 1143.06 of the Village Greenhouse Modified Ordinances regarding regulations for reviewing applications in the Historic Overlay District. Mr. Bond.
Ordinance 2025-006-CD, amending section 1143.06 of the Village of Greenhills Codified Ordinances regarding regulations for reviewing applications in the Historic Overlay District. Whereas Chapter 1143 of the Codified, this is the first reading.
Yeah, you don't have to read.
Yeah, by charter, first readings are just by title.
All right, new business. Resolution number 2025-R31-F, approving annual permanent appropriations for 2026. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2025-R31-F, resolution approving the annual permanent appropriations for 2026. The resolution to make permanent appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Greenhills, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026, pursuant to Exhibit A, permanent appropriations for the 2026 attached hereto and by reference made a part hereof. Now, therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, State of Ohio, Section 1, to provide for the current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Greenhills during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026, the following sums be and are hereby set aside and appropriated as follows, namely, that there be appropriated from the general funds $3,095,000. To be appropriated from the special revenue funds $3,622,585. That there be appropriated from the debit bond retirement fund $82,000. That there be appropriated from the special assessment fund $100,000 for a grand total of $6,899,585 for all funds. Section 2, that the village finance director is hereby authorized to draw warrants for payments from any of the foregoing appropriations upon receiving proper certificates and vouchers, therefore approved by the board or officers authorized by law to approve the same in ordinance or resolution of council to make the expenditures, provided there are no warrants shall be drawn or paid for salaries, wages, except to persons employed by the authority and in accordance with law or ordinance. Section 3. And any necessary changes to be made in the appropriations below the legal limit of control can be made by the finance director with the approval of the municipal manager. Any changes to the appropriation at or above the legal level of control require village council approval. Section 4, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? Call the council.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Mr. Holter?
Aye.
Mr. Warner?
Aye.
Ms. Hudson?
Aye.
Ms. Walker? Aye. Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2025-R31-F passes. Next resolution number 2025-R32-F, resolution establishing work hours and salaries for various village employees. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2025-R32-F, resolution establishing work hours and salaries for various village employees. Be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, State of Ohio, that Section 1, the following salary adjustment will be effective as of the first pay period in January 2026. Clerk of Council, 2% increase in pay. Section 2, the following adjustment in work hours will be effective as of January 1, 2026 for the code enforcement officer. 30 hours per week. Section 3, this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption. Mr. Mayor, I move for the approval of this resolution. Second?
I actually have a question, Mr. Mayor.
He seconded first, I think.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Thank you. I just had a question about the code enforcement officer. How, his hours are improving, obviously, right?
Correct.
From how many to 30?
He's 30 a pay period right now, and they're 30 a week.
30 a week, okay. And, is there a certain, forgive me if this is general, can you explain a little bit about what, if there's any certain tasks or areas that are gonna be his focus, point for those additional hours? I didn't know if there was anything in particular that, prompted the increase, other than we know that there are complaints about certain things, so I just wondered for reference.
Really just the amount of code enforcement to be done out there, and council just wanted additional hours for a while with the area of code enforcement, and yeah, we really need them.
Got it, thank you so much.
And you know, I just want to mention, when the senator was here commenting, I thought it was interesting that he chose Vinebrook, to the property owner that, I just found that interesting. They own, I think, 14 buildings in our community, and they're really tough to deal with, and you know, it's really full of them, so, yeah, just the volume out there is definitely increasing.
Thank you.
And of course, their name pops up a number of times past few years on the assessment list, charging them for them failure of doing things.
I don't expect an answer now, but if there's anything we can do to ensure, since we also have renters or landlords, whatever, that don't live in the country as well, if there's anything we can do that we could build in a certain, you have to be able to respond to a village issue within a certain amount of time.
I mean, you should ask that question,
Yeah.
because Jeff and I, will probably be presenting something to you soon. What we're gonna do is just like what we do with our, grass cutting and stuff, we can put it on their tax lien. It's a tax lien, so we can do that. We're gonna set it up for registration of the landlords with a certain period of time. If they don't respond, we're gonna find them and put it on their taxes. So we're kind of excited about that. It's one tool to help. Yes, that was tough. I mean, we have a couple where they are a far away, and it takes a long time, the correspondence, which is ridiculous, because you would think they would have property managers.
And the legislation that we're working on would require them to register so that we know who to contact, but it does give them the ability to designate a local agent that can act on their behalf. But again, would have to register with us who that is so that we know who to contact. And it's really no more of a burden for them, because in Hamilton County, they're already required to do that through the county auditor, so it's
Just a matter of sharing the information.
Okay, clerk poll the council.
Mr. Warner,
Aye.
Ms. Walker,
Aye.
Mr. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Hermes. Aye. Ms. Hudson.
Aye.
Mr. Holter.
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2025-R32-F passes. Next resolution number 2025-R33-F, authorizing a salary increase for the municipal manager, Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2025-R33, resolution authorizing the salary increase for the municipal manager. Be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, State of Ohio, that Section 1, the salary of the municipal manager will increase 2.8%, effective as of the first pay period in January 2026. Section 2, that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
I second.
Been moved and seconded, any comments? Clerk poll the council.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Mr. Holter?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Mr. Warner?
Aye.
Ms. Hudson?
I abstain.
All right, resolution number 2025-R33-F passes. Next resolution, number 2025-R34-F, authorizing a salary increase for the finance director, Mr. Lee.
Mr. Mayor, resolution 2025-R34-F, resolution authorizing a salary increase for the finance director. Be it resolved that the council of the Village Greenhills, State of Ohio, Section 1, salary of the finance director will be increased 2.8% effective as of the first pay period in January 26th. Section 2, that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, any comments? Clerk poll the council.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Mr. Holter?
Aye.
Ms. Hudson?
Aye.
Mr. Warner?
Aye.
Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2025-R34-F passed. Next resolution, number 2025-R35-F, authorizing a salary increase for the police chief, Mr. Lee.
Mr. Mayor, resolution 2025-R35F, resolution authorizing a salary increase for the police chief. Be it resolved by the council of the Village of Greenhills, State of Ohio, that section 1, the salary of the police chief will increase 2.8% effective as of the first pay period in January 2026. Section 2, this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption. Mr. Mayor, I put the
Yeah.
I approve of this resolution.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded, any comments?
Your resolution.
I'm not done.
We're squeezing every bit we
Clerk poll the council.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes? Aye. Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Ms. Hudson?
Aye.
Mr. Warner?
Aye.
Mr. Holter?
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2025-R35-F passes. Next resolution, number 2025-R36-F, authorizing the 2026 Greenhills fee schedule. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2025-R36F, adopting the 2026 Greenhills fee schedule. Whereas the village has determined that it is necessary to assess fees for certain services, and whereas council updates the fee schedule annually. Now therefore be it resolved by the council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, that section 1, the council of the Village of Greenhills hereby adopts the fee schedule as set forth in Exhibit A, attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference. Section 2, this resolution shall be and is effective from and after the earliest period allowed by law. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
There's no changes in this from previous years.
All right. Clerk poll the council.
Mr. Holter?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Mr. Warner?
Aye.
Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Ms. Hudson?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2025-R36-F passed. Do you have any comments from council members they want to make before we do the calendar?
Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Jack.
Just wanted to thank everyone. It's been great working with everybody. And now that I'm retired, I will have so much more to know. You'll still see me. My daughter's still going to be dancing at all the events, and I will be here. So thank you.
Yes.
On my part, Actually, I am retired now, so it's official on both counts. But council, it's been an honor to serve with you. It's been an honor to serve the citizens of this community, and I wish you all well.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the municipal calendar, Jeff and I will be doing the holiday lights, award reviews, and there's room in the vehicle if anybody else would like to join. What day? Tomorrow?
No.
Tomorrow at 7, right?
Yep.
7. Maybe you could recruit your wife.
Wait, well, I should do that. We were gonna meet it in January.
All right, moving on. So opportunity for residents and non-residents to appear before council. Non-residents must obtain prior permission. The time for citizens to comment on matters before council. When recognized, please come forward to the podium. Complete the sign-in sheet, verbally indicate if you're a resident or a non-resident, and state your comments. If you have questions, the questions will be recorded and referred to the manager's office for response. This will allow time for thoughtful and thorough consideration to be given to each question. Council meetings are recorded for ease of transcription. Comments are limited to 4 minutes. Speakers may not use any or all of their time to other speakers.
Monique Mason Halter, Greenhills resident. At last month's meeting, I asked council members to consider submitting a comment of opposition to FCC docket 25-276 because the Federal Communications Commission, or FCC, has proposed new rules to override local control over where and how cell towers, small cells, and wireless antennas and equipment are built. Many American communities, including ours, have adopted ordinances to ensure that wireless infrastructure is placed responsibly. The deadline for submitting a comment to the docket is 12/31. It's also important to contact our federal lawmakers, Davidson, Houston, and Marino, because they are over the FCC, and because federal legislation continues to be hurriedly proposed to eliminate local control. 2 weeks ago at the work session, I gave you a printout on HR 2289, which also will override local control. Tonight, I've provided you with copies of 2 more online action alerts regarding local authority, and I'm going to read excerpts from them now. The first provides a call script and asks that you contact Senator Marino's office by tomorrow morning. From Children's Health Defense. Tell the Senate, no wireless expansion until the FCC complies with court order. On December 17th, tomorrow, the Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation will hold an FCC oversight hearing. Senator Marino is on this committee. Please ask that he use tomorrow's hearing to 1, defend local decision-making authority and prevent federal overreach into state and local land use control. 2, block new rules in FCC docket 25-276 and stop the FCC from adopting any related regulatory actions. 3, oppose federal wireless expansion bills including HR 2289, HR 1343, HR 1588, HR 1665, HR 1681, HR 1731, and HR 6046 until the FCC complies with the 2021 court order to complete its review of outdated RF wireless exposure guidelines. 4, press the FCC on its failure to comply with the 2021 court order and make clear that no new rules should move forward until the required review is complete. The second action alert is also from Children's Health Defense. Tell Congress, amend 6 bills that would force more cell towers into our neighborhoods. Congress already advanced HR 2289. Together with 6 other bills, the federal government is moving toward a complete takeover of wireless sitting. Without amendments, these bills would, 1, fast-track the build-out of wireless facilities into residential neighborhoods. 2, override local zoning, planning, and safety decisions. 3, limit communities' abilities to protect homes, schools, and children. 4, greatly expand federal preemption beyond current law. I ask that you contact our federal lawmakers and tell them if you have concerns about any of this. It's better to do a personal message than just do online action alerts, which I have provided. Of course, those are so easy. So I hope you all are doing those, even if you don't do the personal outreach. And I slipped some stuff to Senator Blessing on his way out. All right? Thank you.
Good job.
Now, is that one live?
Yes.
So should we be speaking into that one? It's okay. Okay. I'll wait for the mayor to have a seat. Good evening again. This is Patty and Vaughn. I'm a resident, 32 Chalmers Lane. I have a number of comments that pertain to how you operate this particular council. I did have an opportunity to meet with one of the prior mayors in a local village, and I found out that they conduct no work sessions. They merely have all of their work done during your council meetings, so that it's all televised. There's nothing behind the scenes that we don't see. They do have separate committee meetings, and I'm not sure if those are televised or not, so that might be something to think about. Just eliminating the work sessions and making it a meaningful, meat-filled meeting to begin with. Plus, the other thing I found out is they give their residents 5 minutes of citizen comments. So when they get their minutes back during their meeting, each one of the council people takes a look at them, and if there's any corrections, they're made publicly to correct the minutes. And I thought that's a good practice, because right now, we get something that's been sanitized or whatever, and then we all just say yay, 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 yay. We don't know whether or not there was any corrections there. I was furnished a copy of Kathy Live's minutes from 2014 recently. And good gosh, the quality of the detail that she had in her minutes, that's got to be something you need to go back and reference, Teresa, because there is certainly a strong and a weak way to be taking minutes. One of the questions that I've been waiting on from Ms. Kovac is my public records request was made on October 30th regarding the Rumpke bids. And at the meeting, she indicated that they got back all these various bids going through the Ohio Regional Refuse Consortium for bid results of Southwest Ohio. And she indicated that they got bids, and then they selected which one they wanted. Well, I've been waiting since October 30th and never really got anything other than a blank form from her with no figures written in on it. So I made a call or I sent an email to Drew Tillo, the director of the Southwest Ohio Regional Refuge Consortium bid, and the results came back to me in 1 hour in a quarter, 1 hour and 15 minutes. I had the documents in my inbox. And what was interesting is he pointed out that even though they had put the bids out, only one company replied, and that was Rumpke. Why in the hell, Elaine, or Yvonne, couldn't you have just coughed up the truth from the get-go?
I did.
You certainly did
Oh,
not.
come on, I'm sick and tired.
Okay,
Finish.
so it took 1 hour and 15 minutes to get a result, and you have been waiting for 2 months. Okay,
Was there any change or
there's a
difference in
saying
that?
from back in the 1600s, you can fool some of the people some of the time, you can fool all the people all the time, but not all the people all the time. And I want you guys to go into 2026 and remember that. Because people are asking questions and you're not giving answers, but it's going to come out. Thank you.
Anybody else? Meeting adjourned.